I went to at the time it was called Pat's Myeloma Beach Party. And there was a cancer patient advocate, Pat Killingsworth, and he had a website blog. He wrote every single day. Every day he wrote about myeloma, and I started following his page. And he'd had this gathering. He wanted to have a gathering of myeloma patients for some education and fun and camaraderie. And I finally made plans to go there. It was in March down in Florida. And I forget what year it was, but it was the year that Pat actually had passed away in, I think, January or February of that year. But they still held it. And when I went down there and was with a bunch of other myeloma patients from, mostly the East Coast, one of the presentations was on support groups. And it was somebody from the IMF who spoke about support groups and about becoming a support group leader. And I really think that was my first interaction with the IMF. And I went home from that and, probably really didn't look that much into the IMF itself for information, because I was kind of on this, steady doing my Velcade thing, and, everything was going good. I didn't feel like I needed any help at that point. I was just, on cruise control. But the support group thing kept sticking in the back of my head, that we do not have a myeloma support group here in Idaho, certainly not in southern Idaho. And I had gone to a support group. There was a support group through, there was one through the LLS and for all blood cancer patients, but I had never been involved with that. And then our hospital had one for bone marrow stem cell transplant recipients. And I was encouraged to go to that, but I thought, I don't want to go to that. I don't need a support group. I don't need people who are sitting around boo-hooing and, poor, pitiful me. So I put it off for a number of months, and then I finally went to it and was encouraged by the people that were there. There was people with myeloma and other people with other cancers, but I met several people with myeloma who were already past the 5-year mark and much older than, not much, but older than me. And I thought, wow, this gives me hope. And everybody was enjoying themselves. Nobody was sitting around having a pity party. So I attended that group off and on for a little while. So after being in Florida at this gathering, the support group thing, I kept thinking, wouldn't it be nice to have something like that just for myeloma patients here, to give information, because we're not at a big cancer research area like Seattle or LA or Houston and all the other, Duke, all the other places that as patients, I don't think we're as well educated with the latest and greatest in myeloma. So I thought it would be really good to start something like that. And so that's how I really got involved with the IMF, was I contacted them about starting a support group and what that would involve. And then, of course, it took off from there. And, I hear other patient stories about how they contacted them in the beginning as a patient looking for help, looking for support and information. But my first contact really was finding a way to start a support group here.